Hello everyone, welcome to the channel Oracle Buddy. Hope you are doing good. In today's session, we will discuss about item reclassification. So what is reclassification? Reclassification is the process through which an item or item list is moved from one department class to another. Reclassification is initiated online individually or using an item list. An effective date is specified. Reclassification occurs in the overnight batch. Items are reclassified the night before the effective date. You can determine which item or item list needs to be reclassified under which department, class, subclass, and the effective date. A batch process reclassifies those items whose effective date is the next day. Before going further, we need to understand why reclassification is needed. So there can we can move the item from one department class to other department class subclass in a scenario where suppose a business has accidentally created the item in the item department class subclass and they don't want to delete and create the item again. They just want to move the item from one department class subclass to another subclass. Or the item is not performing well in any department and the business thinks if it is moved to any other department class subclass it may perform better. Or if client is moving to a new system, suppose from on-premise to cloud, and they are creating a different set of department class subclass for the cloud to track it. So if they want to do a reclassification, so sometimes they use a reclassification process. Okay, let's move ahead. With the reclassification screen, you can see here there is a reclass. It is a reclassification ID, which is the auto-generated. Next, we have to give a description for the reclassification and the reclass date, the effective date, and the department, class, and subclass information. Adding a new reclassification. Let's understand how a reclassification is created via RMS UI or MFCS UI. To add a reclassification, we have to go to Foundation Data, Items, and Reclassification. The reclassification page will appear. In the table, select Action as an add or use Add icon. The Add Reclassification page appears. In the description field, we can enter the description for the new reclassification. In reclass date, we have to enter the date, the item or item list which needs to be reclassified, or you can use the calendar icon also to select. Next is the select item to reclassify. Either you can use an item or item list. Next is select new hierarchy. Here we have to give the department, class, and subclass. Then we need to click on OK. If you want to create another reclassification, you can click on OK and another. And if you are not good to submit that reclassification, you can hit on cancel as well. So it will reject all entries and close the page. This is a high level reclassification flowchart. So suppose we want to set up a reclassification, then first merchandiser and finance team will check if they are okay with those items. Once they give a go ahead, then and create a reclassification in MFCS, then MF during the reclassification creation, MFCS will do an online check. Once it passed through the online check, next is the during the batch, reclass daily batch running in nightly. Running in nightly, it will check for the all the checks, online checks, and during the batch checks, it will check whether it is eligible for reclassification. And during the when the effective date is tomorrow, it will do the reclassification and the item will be reclassified. So here in this screenshot, we can see this is the reclass form FMB. Once we submit the reclassification, it enters into reclass head and reclass item table. and it is for the department class and subclass. And the when reclass daily.pc batch runs, it insert into postmods and tran data. It picks the data from reclass head and item on the effective date, and then it once the reclass daily completes, it insert into postmods and tran data and updates the item master. Now we will discuss about the effects of reclassifying items. So when the items are moved from one department class, subclass combination to another, several other modules can be affected like sales history, stock ledger, open to buy, and forecast. A reclassification event does not rebuild sales history automatically. A reclassification does not affect the previously recorded sales history. Merchandise maintains three levels of rolled up sales history: department, class, and subclass. Optional batch programs are available that can be used to rebuild the rolled up sales history. Stock ledger transactions are written to move the inventory amount associated with an item from the old department class subclass to the new. Existing stock ledger transactions are not updated to reflect the hierarchy change. Open to buy or OTP records are updated for all orders that are approved but not yet received. Forecasts. If the classified items is forecastable and new hierarchy value move the item to a new forecast domain, then an indicator is reset for the items at the item store level. The changes indicates to the program responsible for the extracting sales history that the next time sales history is extracted for merchandise for the item and store combination, all sales history should be extracted. Normally, only the sales history that occurs in the last date export is extracted. Now we'll discuss about the checks. There are two type of checks. One is online edit checks and second is the batch processing edit checks, which we discussed before in the flow chart. So in the online edit checks, the following edit checks are performed as you set up for reclassification event. The item exists in another reclassification event, then it cannot be created, and one or more item on the event exist on approved partially received order, then also it will reject the reclassification. Batch processing edit checks. Other edit checks that can cause a reclassification event to fail also occur during the batch processing of an event. A reclassification cannot occur if the item is on a unit and value stock count. The items to be counted have been determined based on the department class subclass specified when the stock count was created. The stock count is scheduled after the effective date of the reclassification event. The item is forecastable, but the new hierarchy values in which the item is associated does not have an associated forecast domain. The new department class and subclass contain a required user defined attributes UDA that must be entered at the item level. The new department class and subclass contain a user-defined attribute that defaults all the item level, but the item does not have the UDA defined. What checks are performed in MFCS for an item under reclassification? RMS will check to see if the item has the UDA that is required for the new merchandise hierarchy. RMS will check to see if item has default UDAs. If it does not, it will still reclassify the item, but a warning message will be written to a report. If an item is on any not yet processed stock count, if it is, it cannot be reclassified. If the item is part of a consignment department and it is being reclassified to a non-consignment department and vice versa, reclassification fails. If the item is forecastable, RMS will check to ensure the new merchandise hierarchy has a domain in RDF. If a domain is not associated with the new merchandise hierarchy, the reclassification will be rejected. If there is a domain change in RDF, RMS will write all store sales history for an item to the forecasting download. If the item exists in another reclassification event, then also it fails. If the item level of the item is not equal to 1, then it cannot be reclassified. It means only the style items are put in the reclassification. One or more item on the reclassification event exist on approved partial received orders. If the item is a simple pack, it will fail reclassification. The item can only be reclassified along with its component item. If item is a pack item, it cannot be reclassified from merchandise to consignment department. Now let's discuss about the reclass daily batch. The reclass daily batch program is executed to reclassify items from one merchandise hierarchy to another. The batch program picks up the record that should be reclassified for vdate plus 1 and process them. Only level 1 items can be reclassified directly. Any pre-pack level 2 or level 3 items associated with item level 1 items are also reclassified. The syntax for running reclass daily individually is you can need to put the reclass daily username password SID process mode. The syntax for running reclass process mode can take one or more two values. One is P and another is E. P indicates which batch should perform validation and E indicates which batch should perform both validation and execution. If a let's discuss about the main batch flow. If reclassification is successful, a record will be inserted into reclass error log table with success indicator S. If reclassification is not successful, a record will be inserted into reclass error log table with success indicator R. Reclass error log table contain record only for the current batch. Other data will be deleted. When run is in pre-validation process, record will be written with process indicator field as P. When run in reclass execution process E, records will be written with process indicator field value of E. If reclass fails, a record is inserted into MC rejection table, which provides more detail to the reason for the rejection. The following are the validation done by the batch program to check whether a reclassification is successful or not. If the item is not yet processed, that is under unit and stock count, item cannot be reclassified. A rejection record will be written with reason code stock underscore count underscore pend. If the item is on partially received order, then it cannot be reclassified. A rejection record will be written with reason code partial underscore receive underscore order exist. If the item is forecastable and there is no domain associated for the new merchandise hierarchy level, the item cannot be reclassified. A rejection record will be written with reclass underscore no underscore domain. This can only be done for staple and fashion items. A check is made to determine if the item is missing any UDA, which is required by the new department class subclass. If UDA is missing, the item cannot be reclassified. A rejection record will be written with reason code, no associate UDA value. Such UDA check condition only need to be called for items at or above transaction level because UDA does not default below the tran level. Following are the transaction tables updated when process mode is E. Item master will be updated with new merchandise hierarchy information for the item which is under reclassification. A new record will be inserted into reclass item temp table which contains old and new merchandise hierarchy information. This is a temporary table which is typically only used within one process. In this case, the reclass item temp table would be used during the reclassification process, so do not expect it to be referenced elsewhere or to be included in purge process. The batch reclass daily post process truncate this table. New merchandise hierarchy information is inserted into or updated in RPM item modification table. Obtain the value of for RPM underscore merch retail underscore def dot merch retail def ID for both new and old merchandise hierarchy. If value is different, then delete data from RPM item zone price and RPM zone future retail. If the item is a transaction level item, that is item level is equal to tran levels level item, then a record type tran type 13 will be inserted into Cosmo table. Tran type 13 indicates a change department class subclass of existing item. Below are some validation that should happen before inserting data into Cosmo table. System options.vat, which is VAT indicator equals to Y, then get class VAT indicator from class table. If department or class or subclass is null, an error message will be shown in error file. Depending upon class VAT indicator column, get the latest value related to price, etc. for all store associated to that item. Pos update SQL.insert one lock is the main function which will insert data into Cosmos table for the item and its child records specified store. If the item is a transaction level item, that is item level equal to tran level, approved non-pack item, then a record is inserted into Ripple item log updates table with change type reclass. If the item is a transaction level item, non-pack item, then item record is inserted into tran data table with the tran code 3436. Stock ledger underscore SQL tran data insert function is used to insert the data into tran data. 34 indicates reclassification in and 36 indicate reclassification out. If system option dot forecast indicator is Y, then update the say last sales issue export date for all store item store warehouses to null. If the reclassification puts the item in new domain, this will flag the item store warehouse so all their sales issues history is downloaded in the next sales issue downloaded for the forecasting system. Batch will also update deal item log explore dot close date equals to reclass head dot reclass date -1. Program will update deal item log table with new merchandise hierarchy information for the item under reclassification. At the end, the batch delete reclassification data from reclass head and reclass item respectively only if reclassification event is successful. If no record exists in MC rejection table. During reclass post process, odd head dot department is updated with new department. Detail information only if unit options dot department level order is N and the open to buy is updated to reflect hierarchy changes, both old and new. So most relevant information. So below are the two tables, main tables. One is reclass head and one is reclass item. Reclass table, reclass head, it will contain one row for each reclassification that has been specified to reclassify one item form. Reclass.fmb or the mass change form, MC mrhire.fmb. Items are reclassified on this form using an item list. So there will be one record on this table for each reclassification, and the reclass item will contain each item to be reclassified. Reclass item, this table contains one for each item that is to be reclassified within the specified reclassification. Now let's discuss about the important interview questionnaires. So during the RMS MFCS interviews, usually the interviewers ask below questions during the interviews, like they ask for explain the reclassification and checks performed before reclassification. Next, they can ask what transactions are affected due to reclassification, what tran codes are posted by reclassification, and why reclassification affects parent item style and SKU but does not write in tran data for some items. So there is one point to note is that reclassification create tran data posting 34 and 36 only for transactional item where the stock on hand is greater than 0. Next is conclusion. Reclassification is the process through which an item or item list is moved from one department class subclass to another. Acknowledgement. We refer Oracle retail documentation to create this content, and all experience in my projects which help to create this content. Thank you for joining this session. Please do like, follow and subscribe if you like the content. It will motivate me and my team to create such contents for you. Please post any question in comment and I will reply on based on my bandwidth, and post your interview questions which you have faced for items and reclassification during the interviews, and I will reply as soon as possible to you. Please stay tuned. Thank you and subscribe our channel Oracle Buddy.